And in this one, I'll just tell you what are the type of studies that you can basically research on, right?
Okay.
So like this first one is called, okay, change. So this first one is called editorials. It's a type of research. It's basically a reply to an already published article. So either to raise a question or to add some suggestions. I will like show you an example to explain what I meant by that, right? So I'll copy this. And okay, so you see this is an example of an editorial letter that I just picked randomly. And you see, it reads letter to the editor from Sumi et al. Whenever you see this word, this Sumi is the author's last name, and et al. Just means that all the rest of authors. So if you see right here, this is Hirofumi Sumi. So Sumi is the last name, and et al. Is these two, right?
Oh, okay. Okay.
And this is the published article, like the lower bone turnover and the skeletal PTH responsiveness in the Japanese compared to European patients receiving hemodialysis. Now, this was the whole article, and this Sumi person and these two person have just written a reply to this already published article. So you see, if I type this, then this will be a really long article. Like, can you see I have changed the
Yeah.
tab? Okay, then so you see how this is a really long article, like, and they just have written a reply to this already published article, and this editorial is like 1 page long. That's it. This is all. So what they have done is they have written that, hey, we appreciate your publication. The first paragraph is like them appreciating, hey, we have read it and we see this and that. And then they are like, we wish to raise some questions to the authors, and then this is just them raising those questions, and this is their publication. That's all. Okay, so that was our first type of study, the editorial. Are you clear about that?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, this is like the simplest form. Like you can do it in 2 days and get published.
Okay.
And then this is like a case. The second type is the case studies, in which people just pick a rare disease and present it just in the form of an article. I again have a link to explain what I meant, but this is just basically the way we present a case in the hospital or clinic. We start with history and then examination, treatment plan, labs, and all of that. But I'll just open this. This study is showing the effective use of azelaic acid in the treatment and during the maintenance phase of female acne patients. And if I go down, there is a introduction, and then is this the, yeah. So you see here, this is the case study. They just present one case with the presentation, and then the clinical examination, and then the test results, and what's the diagnosis, and how we plan to proceed, like the care plan. And when you summarize, when you add multiple cases in one studies, it becomes a case series. And if you're presenting only one case, that is just a case study. So this one is a case series, because this has like case one, and then if I scroll down, there is a case two, and there is like a third case as well. So this is like a case three. So they have combined multiple cases. Yeah, so now this study is a case series. In contrast, if they have presented only one case, then this would have been just a case study. That's all.
Okay.
So this type of study is called case series
Case
or
study.
case study. Yeah. So now I will switch back to my presentation, and there you go. So the third one is like a is called a cross-sectional study, and this is more like a snapshot. Like you will analyze the data of a particular population at single point in time, and I will show you what I meant, because most of the time you just say stuff and you don't understand it. That's why
Yeah.
I'm adding examples,
Oh, yeah.
so you know
Like,
what I'm talking about.
yeah, for the vision to be clear, like.
Okay, so you should be able to see it.
Not yet. Okay, now I can see it. Now, yeah, I'm with you on the same page.
Yeah, so you see, this is a type of cross-sectional study, and what they are studying is that descaling psoriasis narratives on TikTok. So this is what they have done. In a single point in time, they went on TikTok and they typed in hashtag psoriasis,
Mm-hmm.
and they collected almost like 200 videos on
Mm-hmm.
psoriasis, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they studied what people were saying in those videos. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, what they were doing is they were asking others or the other population to like plug the psoriasis out of their skin, and that will cause the bleeding and more serious issues. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, in one point in time, they were like, okay, today we will just go on Google or TikTok and collect this data and give a study about it. That's all they have done.
Mm-hmm.
So that type of study is called a cross-sectional study. The the biggest name is like the takeaway from this is a snapshot. Like you just go in time, take a snapshot of a particular time and an event, and then you just write about it. Yeah. So in this one, they have just taken some data in some particular time and just wrote about it. If you see this is like they entered hashtag psoriasis on TikTok. They found 200 videos, and they were like, okay, 134 videos are eligible, and because the other 65 were not in English language, so they excluded those videos. And then they just analyzed the videos for likes, source content, and reliability. So they were like, okay, is this video made by a doctor, or is this video made by a patient who has psoriasis? So they just collected that type of data and wrote the whole thing, and by the end they were like, okay, in conclusion, we think that there is a considerable amount of misinformation. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
just them going in there and getting the data, writing about it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get you.
So this is like a cross-sectional study. And the fourth one is, oh, okay. Now these are like the trickiest one, the case control and case and the cohort studies. In
Mm-hmm.
any exam that you sit on, these two types will be really confusing. Like you will confuse them in a lot of questions. They will be like, okay, this happened. Now let us know, is this a case control or is this a cohort study? So
Mm-hmm.
so the major thing I want you to understand is that a case is a person or a population that have the disease or condition, and control is the one that does not have the disease or condition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both are being studied for an outcome. Outcome can be a risk factor or anything, but one population will have the disease and the other population will not have the disease. That's a takeaway for this one. And if you just look at the name, case and control, it tells you that, hey, one person has the disease and the other doesn't have the disease.
Mm-hmm.
right? So there could be like a study in which there is a population that has the lung cancer, and then there is the population that doesn't have the lung cancer, and now we want to study this, and we want to know what caused this lung cancer. So they will be like, okay, so people who have the lung cancer, turns out that they were smoking more, so that's how they were able to tell that, hey, smoking is a risk factor for the lung
Uh,
cancer. So as you see how this case control has like two population, whereas in cohort everyone has the disease.
okay, I
So
got you.
yeah, I will like go into this link to tell you what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
So see how this one is like association between diabetes at different diagnostic age and risk of cancer incidence and mortality. This is a cohort. So you see how everyone has the diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how,
Diagnose.
yeah. So this is how you can tell if this is a cohort or if this is a case series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the last, no, second last type of study is randomized control trial. So you see how all the previous studies are just observational studies. We are not doing any kind of intervention. We are just observing stuff, right? We are just collecting
Yeah.
data and writing
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
But this randomized control trial is the type of study in which we do something. There is a group in which we will give the medication, and there will be another group in which we do not give the medication. Or we will do a surgery, or we will give someone a vaccine, and other person we will not give the vaccine, or we will give another type of vaccine. So if there is any kind of intervention being done, then that's what is called randomized controlled trials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the last one, do you want me to give you an example of this one? Because I didn't copy the link, but I can just type in.
Okay, yeah, why not?
You see, this is like Selexipag for the treatment of pulmonary arterial hypertension. So they are actually giving a drug, which is this one, Selexipag. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but
Yeah.
they are giving this drug to someone. So this drug is an intervention. We are not studying to figure out the risk factor. We are not writing a reply. We are not collecting the data from TikTok. We are actually giving someone something. So this now becomes a randomized control trial. That is the last type of study, and that is also the study that we will be doing. It's,
Okay.
yeah, it's called the systematic review and meta-analysis. And because it froze, it's not going anywhere, so I'll just tell you what it is. So what we do
Mm-hmm.
is that we will pick some studies, these randomized controlled trials.
Mm-hmm.
We will select a few trials, and we will combine whatever the data is available in those trials. We will analyze it, and we will make some plots, and we will
Mm-hmm.
tell them if this combined effect is significant or not significant.
Okay.
Like because this has froze, I will just go back to giving you the example of systematic
Yeah.
review and meta-analysis. So I have opened a systematic review and meta-analysis. You see this
Mm-hmm.
can you see this hypertension and breast cancer risk?
Yeah.
So this is a systematic review and meta-analysis, right? What they have done
Mm-hmm.
is whatever the already published randomized controlled trials were, they have collected those, and then they have combined the study and written about it. You see this one, this is called a Prisma flow chart. Don't worry, fancy name, you will know about it when we actually start working, right? Okay, this doesn't look good. So you see how they identified 370 records. Okay, you
Mm-hmm.
see this PubMed, Word, Embase,
Uh-huh.
and Cochrane. These three are big medical libraries where you can
Mm.
find the published articles.
Okay.
I will show you how to like search stuff on these libraries and how to use this after
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
So like they identified 370 records on PubMed, 711 on Embase, and 62 on Cochrane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, you see, 186 records were duplicates and
Mm-hmm.
911 were excluded because they did not report information on hypertension and breast cancer because their topic is hypertension and breast cancer. So those didn't include these, so they removed these. And
Mm-hmm.
then they, at last, they had like 46 full text articles.
Mm-hmm.
And from those, one one more was added after
Mm-hmm.
via hand searching, whatever that means. And then there more 17 more articles were excluded, and by doing this whole process they were able to include 30 studies in this meta-analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So this one study contains the data from 30 randomized controlled trials.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like a summary. Meta-analysis is like a summary. That's what we will be doing.
Okay.
Yes, so you see, these all are the names of the 30 studies that they have included, and
Mm-hmm.
then they have like collected this whole data. This is called a forest plot, and you will see these studies are like 30 studies. I will tell you how to make this one because this is what we will be making, and
Okay.
what these lines mean, what these diamonds mean, and everything. For
Mm-hmm.
now, you should only know that a meta-analysis is a combination of different
That,
randomized
yes.
controls. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I will go back to this. You see how we have covered the systematic review and meta when you combine
Mm-hmm.
RCTs and analyze the data to give combined results. So that's systematic review and meta-analysis.